The anti-federalists do win a concession, the Bill of Rights, which Madison and Hamilton and Wilson, etc., had resisted strongly, saying there's no need for it. You can trust this. You can trust the central government. It's not going to exceed its powers.
First of all, the idea of the Bill of Rights that the anti-federalists wanted was structural. They wanted real changes, limiting the taxing power, limiting the presidency. And what Madison does is take 200 amendments that the various states had proposed and sort through them and come up with, he comes up about 12.
There are now but 12 amendments to our Constitution which require your approval or recommendation to the states. Expressed originally in many more, they represent the honoring of pledges made not to disgruntled factions advocating revision of our fundamental law, but to patriotic Americans who made that law effective and desire now its strengthening.
So Madison kind of outwits the anti-federalists, and that's why they call the Bill of Rights that's proposed a tub for the whale. Because, sailors, when they're out and a whale's coming at them, they throw a tub overboard thinking the whale would be diverted, a diversion.
Here's Patrick Henry, the anti-federalist, on the idea of ratifying the Constitution with the hope or promise that a Bill of Rights would later be attached. Quote, "Only a crazy man would buy a defective machine in hope of repairing it afterward."
They were saying this Constitution allows for too much power in the federal government. That's why we need to have changes made, amendments. And they didn't have in mind what Madison proposed that became the Bill of Rights. They wanted restrictions on the power to raise money and the power to raise men. Now, they lost on that.
Many of the anti-federalists were completely disappointed with the Bill of Rights because they wanted much more fundamental changes in the Constitution.
There has been no revision. These amendments supplement the Constitution. They do not change it.
Of course.
George Mason, who truly supports the Bill of Rights and is a libertarian at that level, is certainly somebody worth reading. On the other hand, it's important to remember Mason owns 250 or 300 slaves, and so there's something kind of ironic about him talking about liberty. During the Revolution, the British Tory Samuel Johnson said, "Why is it that we hear the greatest yelps for liberty from the drivers of Negroes?" And that's something that Americans need to think about as well.
And of course, the Bill of Rights is ignored for a century. Court pays no attention. Now, that's the only thing that they care about is the Bill of Rights. But for a century, you don't get court decisions hinging on the Bill of Rights until after the Civil War.